Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jason here, bringing you another cool video. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but it could be kind of long. I don't know how long this is going to be. And this video is going to be geared toward just recording heavy metal for beginners and keeping it simple. I did kind of do a series on this before, but I kind of want to do it again. I want to just break this down really simple in one video. Now, nothing pisses me off more than modern day metal than it sounding just freaking too perfect. And I think we need to start getting away from that. Get back to the old days when things were raw. I mean, this is heavy metal, for God's sakes. And that's what this video is geared toward, is heavy metal. So if you're like me and you started out and you're watching hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube on how to do this stuff, there's endless plugins, guys. What do you use? What do you use? What do you do? I mean, like, it can be extremely overwhelming. I'm going to break this down and show you guys what I use. And it's taken me years to get to this point. So after you watch this video, feel free to copy me. I mean, go get these exact plugins, and I'm not. That's why I'm making this video. So let's just delve in here. I'm not going to show you how to plug into an audio interface and adjust that. You guys should already know that. This is going to kind of be more about plugins, what you should use, what kind of, and we're going to keep it simple. As of right now, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 plugins on this whole freaking song, guys, which you heard in the beginning. Here it is. Minimal plugins, guys. Okay, on the master track, and we're going to go into detail. I got an EQ and some reverb. I have the reverb turned off because if I turn it on, then my voice sounds like this. So that's just turned off for now, for purpose. Don't really need it on, but I'll tell you why I use that later on. And then I'm using Ugri-Tones brand new Total Studio drums. I just did a video about that yesterday. Go back and watch that if you want. I'll get more detail into that. Audio Salt. For the bass, I am using their Duality EX bass sim. Really love this one. And I also did a video of the Mammoth. That's a good one too. You can use that. For the guitars, I'm using Auto 11, an EQ, and that's it. I'm not using any external IRs, no compressor, no delays, nothing. For the lead, the solos, I'm using a compressor, Auto 11 EQ, this Valhalla Supermassive, which I'll show you, and a chorus. That's all I'm using in this whole freaking song, guys. There's like maybe 6 plugins, if that. Now, you watch some of these videos, there's guys got track after track after track of all these freaking plugins, and in my opinion, it just freaking ruins it. I don't think you need to do all that. It's ridiculous. You guys heard my song. It probably sounds like I'm using 100 plugins, and I'm not. So let's kind of go step by step here. What shall we do? Let's start with the guitars, okay? Let me solo some stuff here right now. We're going to solo one auto guitar here. What can we, right here? Okay, that's Auto 11 amp and an EQ. That's it. There's not using anything else on these guitars. Now, let's take a look at the amp here. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Now, for those of you who have this amp sim, you know it's awesome. Let's start on the front. The impedance curve I have at 1 preamp. Your gain is basically 50. It's at 5 bass all the way down, mid all the way down. Trebles between 3 and 4, masters at 5, presence at 7, depth all the way down. And this is just on the default setting, and I'm using cabinet 6. I have the mod turned on. I have the gate up a little bit. I have the tubes at EL34. Bias is halfway, sag is halfway, feedback is halfway. Snarl is about, I want to say 3/4, just to really give it some bite, some high gain. And that's it. That's it. I really love the Cab 6. Cab 6 on this amp sim, in my opinion, gives you a really, really cool old school 90s scooped sound. And then here's my EQ. Let me make that bigger for you guys. Okay. Now, let me turn it off. We're going to play this, and I'll show you what the EQ is doing. Now, you can hear that guitar sounds freaking mean. However, there's way too much low end and high end for it to fit in the mix. Now, I'm going to play this and then we're going to turn on the EQ. You can really hear that difference. Now, what that's doing, we're doing a pretty big high pass, low pass, and then here at number 2, we're cutting down those low mids a little bit, taking away some of the boxiness. Now, I should have said this in the beginning. If you guys are watching this video, don't just use the speakers on your phone. Use some really good headphones or some really good big speakers so you can really hear the difference in sound. So, again, we just got a low pass and a high pass and drop down the low mids a bit. Now we turn that EQ off, and it's just a little overpowering. The weird thing about recording heavy metal guitars is you almost want them to sound thin. If you're just jamming for the fun of it, you want to like get the best, you want to get this like hard, heavy, crunchy sound. But when you're recording and mixing, you almost want your guitars to be thin because the bass guitar is going to fill that in. You know, just jamming out is completely different than recording and mixing. So for the guitars, that's it. That's all it is. I just went over the auto, every setting I'm using, and the EQ. That's all I'm doing right there. I'm gonna go over the lead here real quick. I just soloed it. Now, I'm not the best lead guy in the world. You can hear that echo. That's the Valhalla, and I'll show you that. So on the lead, again, not the best. I am using, I don't know if I can make this any bigger. No, it doesn't look like it. So it's going to be kind of small. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is a free compressor you can get. It's the TDR Kotelnikov. I will try to put links in the description of this video where you can download all this stuff. But this is free, and this is a really cool compressor. I'm not very good at compressor, guys. That's something I'm still trying to learn. It's a little Greek to me. But if you go on here, I do have some presets that I made, and I basically just copied their preset. I just saved it to master bass, lead drums, whatever I'm doing. Now, on their presets, you got mastering, tight, smooth, punchy, you got drum bus, deep control. These are some presets that you can use, and they do work this compressor works really good. I think I only use it on a lead, just for like squashing the highs, bringing down the highs, bringing up the low notes, when you're doing a lead, when you're doing a solo, and it helps even it out a lot. Do you really need it? You don't have to. I'm being a little picky and I'm using it. Now, for a lead, you can just kind of be creative. I mean, make whatever sound you want. For the auto, I'm using auto for the lead, but I'm using cab 17. I think that gives a really, really nice, warm sound on this solo, so it's not too screechy in your ears. And adjust the settings however you want. I've got the gain pretty dang high. The preamp, the gain, the snarls halfway up, and just using cab 7. The rest was... yeah, bass and depth turned all the way down. You don't want any low end on a solo. And on the EQ, pretty much the exact same EQ. I think I just took off more. There's more of a high pass. Just took off more low end on the solo on the EQ. Now here's where things get fun. The Valhalla Supermassive. Again, another free plugin. I only use this on lead and vocals. Now, when I stop, you can hear that ambience going on. That's the Valhalla. And check this out. Let me show you what this sounds like if I put this on my voice. Hey, what's going on out there? Welcome to Metal Till Death. The really cool thing about this plugin, there's all kinds of things going on in here. There's all kinds of you click on mode, you got Gemini, Hydra, Centaurus, Sagittarius. These are every single thing on here just messes with the sound. It just messes with the sound. There's echoes and delays and reverbish, and it's basically like a chorus, a reverb, an echo, a delay, everything all in one, and it all free. And the only thing I can tell you is just freaking um just mess with it. It's awesome for clean tone, for doing lead, especially you put just a little bit of this on vocals, and really that's all you need. Like when you do vocals, I don't even know but I do use a chorus after this plugin. I'll put a link for this plugin in the description as well if I can remember. Now after that, I am using Mercurial's chorus pedal, and this is free. This one's free, and I'm only using this because, and I'll show you. We'll play this lead again. I'll turn this off. Let's turn it off. Turn it on. And you can just hear that widen up a bit. So adding this chorus pedal to it, it doesn't really give it any more echo or delay or reverb or anything. It's just a chord. It just helps widen it a little bit so it fits into the mix a little bit better. Now you could say I'm using a lot of plugins on the lead. Yeah, I guess so. But lead can be a little tricky. You do kind of, you want that lead to really freaking punch and just like sound awesome. So I got a compressor, the Auto EQ Valhalla, and a chorus. And yeah, you got 5 plugins on there for the lead. But to me, that's worth it for the lead. And again, guys, half the plugins I'm using on here are free. That compressor is free, the Valhalla is free, the chorus is free, and even the EQ that I'm using is from the Reaper program, so the EQ is free. I mean, the only thing I paid for is the reverb, the drums, the bass sim, and the auto. I think that's 3 plugins. That's the only ones I paid for. Okay, so we just covered the rhythm guitars and the lead. Let's go to the bass. Let's solo some bass on here. Okay, now you might notice when you're listening to that, you kind of hear this hissing feedback. That is not the plugin. That's that Leo James Rickenbacker copy guitar that in a previous video, you can go back and watch that. I built one of those guitar kits. The bass is making that hissy feedback because I've used a couple of other bass guitars on this plugin, and it doesn't do that. So just letting you guys know, if you go buy this plugin, the hissing is not from it. You won't get that. It's from my guitar. But it still sounds good, and you don't really hear that in the mix. But here is the Audio Assault bass plugin. And this to me, this sounds awesome. Let me save this. I don't know if I saved this. I'm going to save this real quick. Master bass. Replace. Because then we're going to default this. That's kind of what the default sounds like. And then you got a few different cabs. And then you got a whole IR section. Then you got some effects on here. You got an EQ, chorus, compressor, limiter. You got a drive. You got a couple different drives. Your amp, cabs. On the cab, you got low compression, high compression. I mean, this thing's just loaded, and it's a mean, heavy, old school sounding bass sim. Let's go to my master bass. All right, there's my setting. A little nasally, but it's a scooped bass, fits good in the mix. The one thing I have the most problems with in mixing is getting a decent bass sound. I think that's pretty good. I think I could probably work on it some more. But bass is in the background. I mean, I'm not too picky about it. I'm more picky about the drums and the guitar. You do want that bass to fit through and really feel and like make the song more exciting. For now, I think this is working pretty good. But that's the This is the bass amp I'm using, guys, from Audio Assault. Again, I'll try to put a link to that. I think it's like 15 or 20 bucks. It's not too expensive. Okay, now onto the drums. If you guys watched my last video, I did a quick review of the new Ugritone Ugritone Total Studio drums. These are my favorite so far. Now that sounds freaking badass, guys. Those are some nice drums. And here's the one cool thing I forgot to mention. The one thing I love about this drum set, you click on this little, looks like a little EQ icon at the bottom, and you go up here. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. I don't really mess with this, but right here, there's a humanize button. And I think it's preset at 25. But what I believe this does is it randomly adjusts the velocity of the hits you're putting in the midis. It doesn't quantize. It doesn't move. It doesn't move the hits for you, but I think it randomly adjusts the velocity, so it gives you a little bit more human feel. The default on it, I believe, is 25. I move it up to about 29 or 30. I might even put it higher than that. But that's one thing I really like about this plugin. Now, I have tweaked with this thing for freaking hours. And the one thing I love about this, all you got to do is left click on any of these heads, and it brings them all up. And you got different samples you can mix. You got different EQs. You got different microphones. You can pan left, right. You can turn the microphones up and down. It's just ridiculous. And I think there's the kick drum. Right click. That's snare, man. Whoops. Where's the, put the hi-hat. And that's the drum set I'm using. I literally am not using anything else with this drum set other than just the plugin. That's it. Because there's so much stuff, each one of these drum heads, the cymbals, snare, kick, toms, you pull them up and everything is right there within the plugin for you to mess with. So that's the drums I'm using. Now, that pretty much has covered everything, guys. For the drums, all I'm using is Ugritone. The bass, all I'm using is Duality EX from Audio Assault. That's it. There's a compressor on that plugin for the bass, so you don't need to add a compressor for your bass guitar. There's one in the plugin. The guitars, all I'm using is auto and an EQ. And then for the lead, I've got about 5 plugins on that. This is really, really simple stuff, guys. That's all I'm using on here. Now, this is where we're going to go to the master track, because this is where things get kind of cool. We're going to bring up this. I have this EQ on the master track. Now, this is, I think this is like 3K right here. This is a cut where most people use on guitars. This is your nasal sound. And I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to play the song, and then I'm going to turn this on and off, and you'll hear exactly what I mean. Okay, we're going to turn it off here. You hear that shh? On. So, you can hear this, like when I turn it off, you hear the shh. This is kind of a hissy, nasally area. And most people just use this on your guitar EQ. So basically, here's the guitar EQ I'm using. And what people would do was take this dip, and they would just put it right here. What I do is I put this on the entire track, over the entire song, to get rid of that nasty frequency over everything. And I don't know if anybody else does that. As far as I know, I think most people just use that on guitar. I put that on the master track. Covers everything. Get rid of that hiss noise, so you don't ever have to keep doing this little cut on every EQ on different plugins. Just put it on the master track. Cut it from everything. Now, the other thing that I do is, this is the reverb we talked about in the beginning. I put this on the master track. This is Audio Assault's Aural Verb. And I have this on a setting. The mix, this is only a 35% mix. It's on the studio. And this just, it sets it back a little bit, just widens it and kind of mushes everything together. Right now it's off. Turn it on. Turn it off. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can hear it in my voice now. That's the reverb that's going off and on. There it is, it's turned off. There it is, it's turned on. Now, when you listen to that over the song, it's very, very subtle. You turn it on, it just kind of makes everything a little bit bigger and a little bit more old school and raw. It's not too much, just a tad. You don't want too much reverb. I think that's just a tad, just perfect enough. So really, guys, that's it. This is going to be my new template for now, because I'm always doing this and always changing it. But this is all I'm using for this song. Let's go. Let's hear the ending, because the ending's freaking badass. But yeah, guys, that's it. If you guys want to learn, if you want to get into more detail about like actually plugging your guitar into an audio interface and something like that, go watch another video. That's pretty self-explanatory, an audio interface. Whenever you plug an instrument in there, you want to adjust your gain to where as high as you can without it clipping. And that's where you get these meters. If you're looking at my tracks right now, I have my microphone plugged into my Scarlett Solo, and I've got the gain on it it's over 3/4 up, but I have my mouth is back about 3-4 inches here. And you can see that on the meter here, it's just about hitting, what is that, 6? That's kind of where you want it. But anyway, I'm not going into audio interfaces. Anyway, guys, you've heard the song, and these are the plugins I'm using. That is literally all I'm freaking using. Plus the 2 guitars, the ones that I built from the Leo James kits. Those are the guitars that I'm using, and that's how badass it sounds. Which goes to prove you don't need a $1,000 guitar to make some badass music. And all this stuff, this is tuned old school standard, E standard, built guitars, and these are the plugins. I mean, just drums by themselves, bass by themselves, guitars are auto and an EQ, and then the lead has quite a few but like that's it. And you can hear the quality that you're getting. Not that my song is the baddest song in the freaking world, the most awesome song, but it's a badass song, and you can hear the quality of that sound. Sounds freaking amazing. It sounds really, really freaking good. And this is what you can do just sitting in your house. Do you realize this used to cost millions of dollars back in the 80s and 90s? Now you can almost do this for a couple of $100. It's ridiculous. So this is the cool sound you can get nowadays, guys, with minimal plugins. So stop thinking and stop searching for every freaking little plugin that's going to make your life easier. What you got to know how to do is just tune the ones that you have. And that does take a while. It does take a while to learn how to master all those little things, but when you do, you'll realize you don't need 7 plugins on every single instrument. It's just, there's no need for it. Anyway, I hope that helped you out. If you guys have any questions about this at all whatsoever, feel free to leave a question in the comment section. And actually, last and not least, if I can remember a couple of things, color your tracks here. You can see all my guitars are red, my bass is blue, my drums are green. This just helps separate it and kind of makes your interface more exciting. Okay, if you guys want me to make a video on this, let me know. I'm going to click into one of my drum MIDI tracks right here. echo the solo. If you guys want me to make a video on how to program drums, like very simply, I don't go into crazy detail about programming drums because I'm very old school. Um, let me know. I could make a video to help you guys out on some of this MIDI stuff and how to program these drums. It's pretty easy. Let me know if you guys. I'm not gonna go into that right now. Let me know if you would like that made into a video. All right, guys, that's the video. I'm done. I hope this helped any of you guys out. I just wanted to show you how easy this can be. Sometimes, if not most of the time, this gets made into an overly complicated thing, and it's not. Thanks for watching Metal Till Death. Stay tuned for more videos.